We live in an era obsessed with biohacking. We scroll through social media for ways to optimize the 9 to 5 workday, often turning to the distant past for inspiration. Brands like Pantheon Energy market divine focus through ancient nootropic formulas. Nootropics are substances or dietary supplements used to improve cognitive function. These companies offer consumers the endurance of Olympus in a sleek aluminum can. That marketing relies on a specific biological confusion. It conflates 3 distinct physical mechanisms: metabolic calories, attentional stimulants, and ritual trance into a single category called energy. To understand how ancient armies marched or how massive monuments were constructed, we must look past the mystical branding and examine the reality of historical supply chains. The historical truth of human endurance relies on state administration and metabolic survival.
In the early states of Mesopotamia and Egypt, physical human labor powered the entire infrastructure of society. For the ancient worker, daily fuel came as beer. The state distributed it as a standard wage, a safe, caloric package. Early writing systems emerged to track these exact rations. Administrators carved ledgers into clay to manage this metabolic fuel. We see the same administrative machinery in New Kingdom Egypt. Workforce stability at sites like the Deir el-Medina village depended on an uninterrupted flow of grain and beer from central authorities. Scribes recorded what happened when that supply chain broke down. According to the historical strike papyrus, when the grain failed to arrive, the workers laid down their tools, halting the empire's ability to extract labor. The most reliable energy practice in early civilizations was a functioning bureaucracy keeping its workforce fed. Ancient cultures did possess biological stimulants, primarily utilizing chemical families like caffeine and theobromine. Theobromine is a bitter alkaloid compound found in cacao that gently stimulates the heart and widens blood vessels. But their historical application rarely mirrored modern workflow optimization. When Sufi monks in Yemen began brewing early forms of coffee, they treated the resulting wakefulness as a devotional technology. The caffeine allowed them to stay conscious and alert through night-long prayer sessions. While the Maya consumed mildly stimulating cacao, they embedded it within complex social choreography. Serving and drinking it functioned as a marker of community participation and prestige. In West Africa, the caffeinated kola nut became a major trade commodity. People chewed it for endurance, but they also used the nut to formally seal social agreements and perform religious rites. Modern marketing often sanitizes the ancient habits, framing them as perfectly healthy biohacks. Across South Asia, the historical practice of chewing betel nut provided a normalized, widely accessible stimulant effect, but it also carried severe medical consequences, including high rates of oral cancer. When a culture identified a potent plant, they wrapped its physical effects inside a morally and ritually significant experience. At the extreme end of the historical spectrum, elites and specialists bypassed daily endurance entirely, chasing superhuman vitality, altered states, and immortality. European folklore references flying ointments and witchcraft potions. These mixtures relied on toxic tropane alkaloids, chemical compounds found in nightshades that block nervous system signals, to induce heavy dissociation and hallucinations, rather than physical performance enhancement. Meanwhile, ancient Chinese alchemists attempted to defeat aging by formulating external elixirs. They ingested rare, heavy minerals, including raw cinnabar, which is an ore of mercury. Ingesting elements like mercury and arsenic triggered severe bodily trauma, and court records document numerous deaths resulting from these alchemical experiments. The historical pursuit of elite vitality elixirs is largely a record of catastrophic self-poisoning. This brings us back to those modern aluminum cans promising mythic power. Why do we associate a simple dose of caffeine with the ancient gods? Human beings possess a psychological drive to elevate basic chemistry. We use ritual and myth to transform a physical jolt into a meaning-making experience. The historical reality remains intact. A society built its effectiveness on the mass cultivation of grain and social organization. This chart illustrates how energy resources tracked power. While common stimulants like coffee or cola were often traded at every level, The most prestigious preparations, and the dangerous experimental elixirs of alchemy, remained the domain of the elite. For the worker, energy was a calculation of managed caloric scarcity. To understand how an ancient civilization generated its power, we must look past the mythical potions of its kings and examine who controlled the grain.